Hi, remember me? Gosh, I hope anybody's out there. Mike, I feel like I haven't been here in 500 years. There's so much going on here. All of it's still sort of in tumult. And I've been missing you guys. I hope the feeling's mutual. And I really need to tell you that this sort of here and gone and here and gone is not over. We got a few more weeks to get through until we get back onto solid footing again. Finding somebody to replace Jess turned out to be, I guess, a little more difficult than we had thought. There is someone who's been hired. Jess didn't just work this show. She has had other responsibilities at Pittsburgh City Paper, so it's a multifaceted kind of position. And I understand that somebody has been hired, but cannot start until Monday, October 6th. Now, I am here today by the good graces of Carlo, who knows how to run the board, but has other things to do, too, so can't do this for the next 2 weeks. We will do shows on Monday and Friday for the next 2 weeks and then get back into regular mode. So that is to tell you I will not be here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'll be back on Friday, and you don't want to miss Friday's show. I have got Jean Marie Laskus coming in. She is the extraordinary journalist who really broke the story of the kind of damage that concussions were doing in the NFL. And she is the one who first gave publicity to the guy working down the street over in the county morgue who found the proof that football was literally destroying the brains of some of those who played it. And I think I have mentioned that all of that is going to be made into a movie, which begins filming here next month, starring Will Smith as the lead performer. And he will be playing the guy who worked for Cyril Wecht in the morgue. And he has an African name that I can never keep in my head, but he will be the lead. It'll be his story that is told, and also a story of the NFL's just extraordinary intransigence and efforts to deny what he was presenting and to have him defamed, essentially. It's an amazing story. It's not surprising that the folks in Hollywood decided it would be a great movie. So Jean Marie Laskus, my friend who started this all off with a piece in, I want to say Esquire, but it could be GQ, will be here on Friday. And we're just going to talk the whole hour about this extraordinary story. It's strange that that Pittsburgh should be the epicenter of this aspect of the NFL's current travails. Pittsburgh, an extraordinary football town, a town where football is almost a religion, and perhaps the greatest unifier of the people. It could well be that the discovery at the morgue here could be part and parcel of what helps bring the NFL down. I don't know. I have to tell you that and I know this is something that everybody's got to come to in their own time. And I'm not completely there. It's sort of like somebody deciding I can't eat meat anymore and they become a vegetarian. I think giving up the NFL is one of those kinds of things. And for a girl from Green Bay like me who was weaned on football, it's a very difficult thing to fall out of love with football. But it's happening to me. And you know it's been happening to me for the last few years. I've been struggling. The struggle's getting easier. That's all I want to tell you. And with me, it's not the latest, the assaults. That's not what is doing it for me. It is this injury to the brain. And then when you see a headline like this is from the New York Times, and this shows how far it's come since Jean Marie first broke that story. NFL agrees, says the headline, brain trauma in 1 in 3 players. There's the headline. I can't get it close enough. That's the New York Times. The NFL agrees now that 1/3 of its players will suffer long-term cognitive problems, and that these conditions are likely to emerge at notably younger ages than they would in the general population. Now, once you take that in, it does, I gotta tell you, it takes a lot of the pleasure. How could it not? How could it not take the pleasure out of watching that game? How could it not? And that's where the pull and push of your own, I don't know. Yesterday was the first Sunday that I did not watch nor care. I really didn't. And then was surprised this morning when I opened up the paper and saw a picture on the front, which is, of course, of a Steelers. And that was when I found out that they had won yesterday. I was incurious. Thank God. So I'm falling away. I am. And I just, again, and I know, like, as somebody who's a carnivore till the day I die, but who totally understands when people say, I can't do it anymore. I can't eat the flesh of these animals and know how they're slaughtered and stuff. And I hate it when people start talking about that around me, because I know I completely understand, but I can't stop. I can't stop eating meat. I crave it. I crave. My incisors want to rip flesh. I want to feel drooling blood in my mouth. Mwah! Is there anything better? Now, that is disgusting. I know it's disgusting, but I can't stop. Football, I think I'm going to be able to stop. And I got to tell you, if I, the little Green Bay girl who is a part owner of the Green Bay Packers, has my stock certificate, gets invited to all the corporate meetings, if I can quit football, then a lot of other people are going to do it too. I don't know what the end result will be. I really don't. But when you see a headline, NFL agrees, brain trauma in 1 in 3 players, and then you're supposed to have fun at a game? Watching these beautiful young men destroy themselves? I don't think so. As you know, a lot of players are suing former players, and a number of Steelers are part of that lawsuit. including Dermontti Dawson. I remember he was a center. Remember him? I think he's Hall of Fame. When Dermontti Dawson was a I almost said refugee. What? Wait a minute. Was a rookie. I knew it was an R word. When Dermontti Dawson was a rookie, I was doing a little piece on him. I was doing pieces on the Steeler players, so I was up close and personal in unusual situations with them. And I went grocery shopping with Dermontti Dawson, who was going. I had been told by the Steeler marketers that he was a really good cook. And so I went shopping with him, and then he was going to make a meal, and I was going to eat it with him and his family, and blah, blah, blah. Well, he was such a nice guy. He was so sweet. But let me tell you, he wasn't no cook. He made spaghetti, and this was spaghetti as rudimentary as you could get. It's the way I'd make spaghetti, actually. I mean, he used bottled sauce, and it was awful cute, though. He was such a nice guy. Now here he is, and the brain, by the way, that led to this discovery that 1 in 3 football players will have this serious cognitive disease. The brain was of a Pittsburgh Steelers center, also Hall of Famer, Mike Webster. It was his brain that led to the discovery. So you can understand Dermontti Dawson thinking, well, okay, he had the same position I did. Every play, he went bang, 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 bang. And not just every play, but every practice, bang, 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 through high school, through college, through bang, 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 bang. And Dermontti Dawson is now suing, as is Louis Lips, who was not as much in a bang-bang situation as guys on the line. Frenchie Fuqua, Chris Hoke, Jeff Hardings, they are all plaintiffs. And over 60 former players, after their deaths, many by suicide, by the way, were diagnosed with this essentially decay of the brain. Their brains just fall apart. There's 60 of them that are known. That you only know when you're dead, because only then can you take the brain and slice it and see that it's just So the 60 players they know had it are all gone. And you can bet there's tons more that do. Anyway, I'll stop. I know how miserable I make those of you who are football fans, and I feel for you. But I don't, again, see how... I don't see how it can continue. About 1 in 3 of these guys will be diagnosed with either ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, or this brain, the worst of the worst. This brain eating just destroys you, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is what is the thing the NFL said didn't exist. It does. Okay. Anyway. So that brings us to this quote that I came upon in the paper. This quote is by, I feel so smart when you quote somebody like Schopenhauer. Not that I ever read any philosophy, because I didn't. But here it is, Arthur Schopenhauer, German philosopher. Listen to this, if this doesn't hit it on the head. All truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident. 1, 2, 3. All truth goes through ridicule to violent opposition to acceptance. And acceptance is, well, yeah, self-evident. Stop and think of where you've seen a lot of it in your lifetime, right? And gay marriage and the right of gay people to have access to that institution, and or that gay people, blah, 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 blah. That, you can see, is heading through this. It's in stage 2 right now. But in a lot of people's heads, it's already moved to stage 3. But it's hardly ridiculed anymore because the people who started out ridiculing it have now fallen back into this, crazed opposition, but they're losing that too. So eventually they'll fall back to number 3, and it'll take another generation or 2, and it'll be, kids will say, what? It's like, it's like if you're as old as my mom. I mean, you lived in an age where black people weren't considered, capable of, what white people were. What? That blacks and whites couldn't marry and shouldn't marry. What? And on and on and on. So there it is. All truth passes through 3 stages. Remember that the next time we're fighting one of these social issue campaigns, because invariably the Republicans and the conservatives lose these. They always start with ridicule. Oh, yeah, and what's next? Man marrying dog? Right? They lose because they're always wrong. But keep that one in mind. Okay, some of you are writing. What we got here? Chuck writes, certainly injuries and scandal are affecting my affection for the NFL, but add to that ticket prices, concession prices. Well, most fans never go to the game. Okay, but ticket prices, concession prices, overpaid athletes, ridiculously fanatic and foul-mouthed drunken fans, I can leave it too. Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean you won't look on TV where you don't have to have beer spilled on you and, and beer that you spent some incredible amount of money for and all that. Colette says, does the NFL say they're looking for a solution, or have they thrown up their hands? Is there a possible solution? Yeah, they're looking for a solution. But I think you'll hear on Friday with Jean Marie that it doesn't seem... Actually, the guy here, the African who found it in the first place, does think that's what you have to do now, is find a solution. I don't see how you can find a solution when if you have a game in which there's that level of impact, bang, 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 and your head is encased in that helmet, and your brain, and this is the part that I didn't realize, your brain is floating in fluid, cerebral fluid inside your skull. There's a little give and take in your brain. If you go like this, shake your head, your brain's going blah, 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 really. So when, and I'm sure this is just simple physics about objects moving at a certain rate and then come to a complete bang halt. The brain, which is just floating around there, it slams into the skull. And then, like whiplash, falls back and slams into the back of the skull, and then probably comes forward a few more times. And so crash, 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 crash. That's the way your brain does. How do you stop that? I don't understand how you stop physics. And I know that some people have said for a long time, and they are right, that one of the best ways you could do it is you have to take the helmets off. Because once you take the helmets off, people didn't used to play football like they do now. They didn't used to use their heads as weapons. They didn't, because they had those little leather helmets on, or you wouldn't. But once the head became encased in that protective gear, it became part of the attack machine. So if you take the protection away from the head, then you pull the game back to where it was before. And maybe that is a way of doing it. But all they keep doing is making the helmets bigger, badder, and this and that. But physics! I just keep wanting to say physics, guys. And I never took a physics class, but I have this vague understanding of having had whiplash, having dislocated a shoulder because part of me stopped, but my arm kept going, right? I understand that. And I don't know how you get around it. I don't. Well, did you know that the New York mayor was here Saturday? Did you read? There was a story in the New York Times. I didn't see anything about it here, and I just tried to. It turns out that Bill de Blasio, right? Blasio, how's he pronounce it? The 20-foot mayor of New York. He's a very tall guy. He apparently, he's got like a chief aide who he pals around with all the time, who's originally from, I think, Wisconsin, maybe Milwaukee. And he's a real Brewers fan. And de Blasio had like no major things on his schedule on Saturday, and he realized that. And his family was out of town, and he said, hey, I checked, and I got us 2 tickets to the Brewer-Pirate game in Pittsburgh. And the mayor and his pal jumped in a car and drove here Saturday and went to the game. And apparently, I suppose he got his really good tickets by calling Bill Peduto or something. I mean, somehow they found 2 very good seats behind home plate. And Bill Peduto joined them after, and they ended up afterwards at an Elks Club drinking beer, and then ended up in Lawrenceville. Down in the basement of the Roberto Clemente Museum. Have you ever seen that place? It's in an old fire hall. It's marvelous. And on the first floor is this amazing tribute to the great pirate Roberto Clemente. And in the downstairs is a winery. It is the coolest place, and that's where the mayor was, down in the winery, I guess, and the Roberto Clemente. And then he and his pal go to a Comfort Inn and get a 5 hours sleep. Get a 6 a.m. wake-up call, jump back in the car, get to New York in time for the mayor to jump into the Save the Climate parade Sunday. That guy must have a lot of energy. Jeez. Anyway, and it was good for them. That was the game the Brewers won. The one measly game the Brewers won. All right, enough sports. So I was reading the obituaries like I do. Just you wait until you get old. That's what you do. It's horrible. Then most of the people who are dead turn out younger than you are, and that really freaks you out. But here's what in the last week, I have seen, you know how in big letters is the name of the deceased, the last name of the deceased. And I got to tell you, some people live their lives and die with the most horrible name. Why would you keep a name if it would do nothing but give you trouble all of your life? I know I've said this before, but that is before I saw the person named Crap who died recently. Crap! C-R-A-P-P. There ain't no other way to pronounce it. It's crap. Now, how would you want your child to have a name of crap? No, you wouldn't. Some family members pronounce it crop. Yeah, right. You can pronounce it crop. Anybody looking at it says crap. Why? I don't understand why those names are perpetuated. Why somebody doesn't put a stop to it. Just for and then after I saw poor Mr. Crap or whatever, the crap person who died, then just a few days ago, there was a guy named Creep. C-R-E-E-P. Well, you want to go through, hi, I'm a creep. I come from a whole family full of creeps. I mean, why would you? I've never comprehended that. And I have trouble with my own name, but my name was, relatively, I just have a name where I don't have any names I like. I have a lot of names and none of them I like. My first name's Ida. Oh my God. My middle name's Lynn. Insipid. My maiden name is Miller. My married name is Cullen. Ida Lynn Miller. Ida Lynn Cullen. Lynn Cullen. Ida Miller. I've tried every locution, and they all come up. But at least it ain't creep or crap. Jeez. And then today there's a poor guy whose name is Caholic. And I thought, oh, please don't let his name be Al. Coholic. And then I'm such a creep that I looked at Caholic's, the people who've survived him, to make sure there weren't any Als. And there aren't. The Caholics at least knew. No matter what, nobody gets named Albert or Alex or Al anything. We can't do that to him. It's one thing to have Caholic, which in and of itself doesn't do anything, but you wouldn't want a kid to be named Alcoholic, obviously. Chris writes, since you're not going to be there Tuesday through Thursday and then you have your guest on Friday, I just have a quick question. What? Oh, when does 4802 start? Are you kidding me? Well, it starts real soon. And I won't be on the first show because it starts on the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur, which I ain't doing TV that night. Sorry. So it will start, I don't know, when is that exactly? It'd be in about 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that. It will start, and then it takes the next week off for some reason, and then I'm on again. So it's mid-October, if that's a show that you... There it is. That's the show on public TV here, WQED, Channel 13. Did you watch that great Roosevelt series they just finished up? My gosh. Wow. Jeez. If you didn't, it is really worth your while to check it out. Really worth your while to check it out. Okay. Why do I feel like I'm just blah, 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 blah? Because I am. You know, you can call if you want, or you can email me, which some of you obviously have, Lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Are we coming in loudly and clearly? Because we've had some difficulties recently, and we've wanted to make sure those are corrected. Okay. Let me get just a quick break to catch my breath and take a slug of Diet Coke, which I understand will kill me. And then we'll start up again, okay? Just a second.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
What is that?
Oh, it's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure, just hit this button.
Whoa, dinosaurs. Cool.
Or we can go here.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Oui.
Or we can go to the future.
Wow, hey, you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money. Always spent it on vacations and stuff.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep.
Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is. Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
Wait, no!
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Yeah, hi. Barbara writes, good morning, missed you. I missed you too. I really did. I'm just Did you see me wandering around the city like a lost person? Did I look like a bag lady? I had nowhere to go. Nothing to do, no purpose in life. Is there a call? Hello?
Hey, Lynn?
Yeah.
Hey, it's Michael from Polish Hill.
Michael!
I tuned in a few minutes late, but did I hear you correctly that you're just going to do 2 shows a week now?
Just for 2 weeks. Because
okay.
Because my new producer can't start for 2 weeks. And
well, I was going to put forth the proposition that if you're going to do 2 shows a week, maybe you should make them 2 or 3 hours instead of 1.
I know, always trying to make me work harder.
No, make you give more money to the parking meter.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, or get home later.
Yeah.
Well, you can't ride the bus now with your arm. How are you doing?
Oh
with
no,
your arm,
I'm
though?
fine. Look, here's my arm. I can get it up to there. I can. I'm still working on it, but no, I can. No, I ride the bus.
I'll have to watch because I usually just listen and not the video.
I mean, yeah.
But the new app is pretty cool, but I am disappointed that you're not on iTunes anymore because that way you were able to download it. And,
I know. Here's what I understand. Okay. And believe me, I don't understand much of anything, but I think I will be back on iTunes soon.
Oh, good.
However, iTunes was making money off of us, but we weren't making a penny.
Right.
So I think if you want to download off of iTunes in the future, and I think this is coming soon, yeah, Carlo? You're going to have to spend a little bit of money to download it.
Oh, well, it would be well worth it.
Really?
Yeah, but I think iTunes is it's like, if you're going to really be a podcast, you do have to be on iTunes in a way.
Well, but we can't do it free anymore. They're not willing to do it.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Well, I mean, everybody talks about monetizing, the internet, and believe me, we have not been at all. I mean, I ain't getting rich.
That's what I was going to say. You should do a 3-hour show from now on for free.
Yeah, right. Instead of the 1 hour for free. So this is an effort by City Paper, which, by the way, I mean, I'm only here because of their good graces. They want to, if this ain't going to make any money for them, there's no point to it. So this is an effort. Sorry, guys, but that's it. So we can get it back on iTunes.
Well, they want people to, go to their website and click on the website, which is the way that we should listen to you.
That is
But
right.
it was also, so convenient to have you on iTunes. And part of being a real podcast is it's just like a status thing. You have to be on.
You have to be on
available.
iTunes, right?
I think so, but I don't know.
But for a little, I mean, I think we're talking pennies for a download. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not a lot.
And even I didn't know that iTunes was charging you for that. I thought you could just put a podcast for free. But anyway, I wanted to know if you had any stories for what did you do on your week off? Did you fly?
Fly?
I mean, in an aeroplane.
No.
Oh, okay.
I didn't go anywhere.
Oh, really? You just took the week off?
You know what I'm doing? I'm working on that one-woman show. Do we know about the one-woman show?
Yeah. Do you have a date yet? Or
Yes, we have a date.
On sale anywhere?
Yeah, tickets aren't quite on sale yet, although they will be. But you can put the date down.
Okay.
You can be there if you can.
Well, you know how much Planned Parenthood loves me after we did our bingo thing.
You were
Of course I'll be there. And actually, I already talked to Sue Steele about this. We are both going. I'm bringing Sue Steele.
Oh, how wonderful.
We are going to come.
Sue Steele used to be the education director of Planned Parenthood. November 17th.
Okay. Definitely will be.
At the theater at Cabaret, the Cabaret at Theater Square.
Yeah,
I'll get it right next
Just
to.
take an Uber to the Cultural District, and they'll point you.
It's in between. I mean, it's there's the O'Reilly Theater, there's Meat and Potatoes, and there's the Cabaret.
I just remember the nightclub called Heaven and the Stanley Theater, but yeah, we'll be there.
So be there, be square. The cheap seats are $50 because it is a fundraiser for Planned Parenthood, guys.
Well, of course.
Yeah. And you can the doors will open at 5 because you can drink and eat until the show starts at 6:30.
Don't tell me that.
All right.
You
Well,
know
I
me
want
and my
people.
tequila.
Yeah, I want people to drink
I'll be sleeping
liberally.
by the time you come.
All right, well, don't do that.
Oh, no,
but
I'm
I've been
kidding.
trying to figure out what to do in this hour, and yeah, it's hard to. I keep thinking, what the hell would people want to
Oh,
come?
you have so many stories.
So I'll just tell stories.
The Iggy Pop story.
Yeah. I'll tell Iggy Pop. I'll tell Chuckles. I'll tell all those stories which you've already heard. So why?
Lawrence Welk groping
I don't. I'm gonna sort of let that.
Making love with a dolphin.
Yes, of course. All right, and even some you maybe don't even know, right?
Yeah.
So please, everybody, really, thank you for the opportunity to plug that. November 17th. If you guys don't show up, my name's Mud. I mean, I need you to support me. Forget Planned Parenthood.
I know, well, of
Just
course.
support me, please. Michael, thank you.
Hey, Lynn,
What?
I have to call you later this week, or next time you're on, to tell you some airplane stories about the putting the seat back thing.
Okay.
It's already an old topic, but I have some stories.
Well,
about
it's never
that.
old with me.
Okay.
All right.
Talk to you later.
All
Bye.
right, bye. This is he travels a lot because he's in a in a band, the Cynics. You guys know. Ansel writes, Lynn, where I grew up, we had a family with the last name of Virgin. Jeez, no, that's terrible. Their daughters were teased throughout middle school and high school. Sometimes I wonder if those folks registering immigrants in Ellis Island were having a bit of fun, handing out American spellings of those European. You know what? Never thought of that, Ansel, but maybe that is how it happened. Isn't that awful? Oh, speaking of virgins, speaking of virgins and speaking of my show, so I was looking through a bunch of old stuff that I'd done for Channel 4, and I came, I used to do misspelling things and blah, blah, blah. I came upon this one where I was making fun of headlines, and there was a headline. Oh, let me see if I can remember it. It said something like, and it was from the Post-Gazette, U.S. military U.S. military probe to virgins or something. It said something like that was so. That's not it exactly. It was so sexual, but it said virgins, military and virgins. I thought, what the hell? And it was the Virgin Islands, and it had something to do with the blah blah. But it was such an absurd headline. Anytime you have virgin in the headline, you better make sure that it has to be there, or that it's not going to create the hilarity that invariably occurs, even with sophisticates and older people like myself, when things like virgins and sexual topics come up. Yeah, William writes that one way people deal with bad names is they say things like, no, it's Frankenstein. Well, my favorite story about this is my friend back in Madison. Oh, God. I mean, like my friend so long ago, and now I can't even think of what her name was. Damn it. I'll have to tell you this later, but this is a sure sign, and I didn't even play football, that I have some brain trauma. Jeez, that scared me. Okay, okay. So, speaking of newspaper headlines and all that kind of stuff, I want to get to this. Did you get this? No, well, I'm starting there. Never mind. Her name was Bobby Cates. I'd always known her as Bobby Cates. I'd never written her name down, but once I did, and I wrote it. How would you write it? Cates. Cates. And then she told me that's not how I spell my name. I spell it Katz. We'll take a call. Hello.
Hey, I want to get to you before you get into your spiel there.
I already did.
Sorry.
That's okay.
We need to put a call out to all listeners to see if they have one of those greeting cards that you can press a button and record a sentence and then send off.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Because we need to then take that to Jess and have her record her laugh on it so that you can have a laugh track that you can go to anytime you need to. Because did you ever watch one of the old sitcoms like MASH?
Yeah.
In the seasons before they had laugh tracks?
Yeah.
And then watch it afterwards, and it's, well, that's what you need. You need just this little giggle there in the background. I keep waiting to hear it every time you say something.
Oh, you're missing Jess.
When you were saying, like, when you know exactly when you said about the guy's name being crap, I could hear it in my head, you know, but it wasn't there. So we need to get somebody to send you one of those. I don't have one, but if
well, I can bring Jess in here and have it recorded.
Yeah, and then you can just push a button every time you say something.
Okay, that's an idea. And who knows? Maybe my new producer, who I don't know, has a wonderful laugh too, and is given to using it. I don't know.
And then you could get a couple of horns and bells and songs to go along with the laugh. Right, yeah.
Okay, you. Thank you. Aw. Well, gotta let Jess know that. So yeah, Bobby Cates tells me Cates is spelled Katz. Now, come on. I ain't born yesterday. I told her that ain't Cates, that's Cats, for God's sake. And what's wrong with Cats? What's wrong with Cats is it's a Jewish name, and obviously her parents decided that they were going to be Cates instead of Cats. Well, if they're going to do that, then change the spelling. You can't say Katz as Cates. It's Cats. Excuse me. I'm screaming. I know I am. So, one of my favorite things in the newspaper is the scene column, you know, where you find out there were parties all weekend that you weren't invited to. Everybody you know was there, but you didn't even get an invitation. It's okay, I don't care. There was a big event, and I saw this. My God, there's the bishop, there's my rabbi, There's all these people, and it turns out there was a big cocktail party to celebrate the paper's new state-of-the-art printing press. Oh, be still my heart if I had gotten that invitation. Oh, I can go to the celebration of the printing press party? What kind of crap all is? Then it turns out, and I thought, what's my rabbi doing at the printing press celebration? And what's Bishop Zubik doing? Well, guess what they were doing? They were blessing the printing press. I have it right here. After a blessing by Rabbi James Gibson and Bishop David Zubik. Oh, maybe they didn't bless the press thing. Maybe they blessed the wine and the people there. But I have a feeling they blessed the whole operation. Anyway. And then listen to the over-the-top nonsense. Here is the publisher, editor-in-chief, and the owner. He can be whatever he wants. John Robinson said at the occasion, "This is an occasion for divine reflection." It's a effing printing press. I mean, a divine reflection? Has the Post-Gazette lost its marbles over this damn thing? I think that because they must have paid a lot of money for it, they think we care about their damn printing press. We don't. We just want the paper delivered when it's supposed to be, right? And this is where often, this is called like inside, this is like, it's inside stuff. And they totally have lost touch with their audience who doesn't care. Hey, Shrebman, we don't care. Mr. Block, it's not a divine anything. It's an effing printing press. We don't care. And listen to John Allison, who's the Sunday editor. He says, oh, and I know John. Hi, John. I love you, but really. Quote, catalyze. I'm going to choke on it. Catalyze, crystallize, and energize. That's what I think has been done here. What does that mean? What does that mean? Catalyze, crystallize, and energize. That's what has been done here? It's a printing press. Boy. So anyway, the PG's been so over the top about this and saying it'll change everything about the paper. Yeah, the paper has shrunk. The paper is smaller. There's not as much in it. And there are a lot of proofreading errors, just as there used to be. And, oh, yes, now the funnies are in color, like I give a. So, even, I got to tell you, the rabbis and the bishop's blessing didn't work. Because I got this with my Post-Gazette the other day. It's on very, very pricey paper. To our valued Post-Gazette home delivery subscribers, please accept our deepest apologies for any inconvenience you may have experienced. I didn't get a paper at all one day. They've been coming late because they go on to say, with the installation of our new printing press, we are experiencing occasional startup problems and technological glitches. So, stop already, okay? If you're sending out apologies to us because of your new printing press, then don't you think catalyze, crystallize, and energize, that's what's been done here, is a little over the top? And then you send an apology the next day because people can't get your paper? I mean, come on. Fucking paper. Printing press. Okay. I came upon this over the weekend, and I thought it was just odd enough that I'll share it with you. So the Chinese have more millionaires than I guess any country. Do you believe that? The Chinese do. Yeah, because there's 500 gazillion, million, bazillion Chinese, and so just by virtue of their numbers, now that they've allowed some creeping capitalism, they got millionaires up the wazoo. They got tons of money, and they want to spend it. So it turns out the most favorite location of Chinese millionaires with money to spend is Paris. They always thought of Paris as almost a magical place. And it turns out that these hordes of Chinese millionaires in Paris are getting mugged left and right. They're they're freaked. They are targeted by thieves. They are stunned by the impoliteness of the notorious impoliteness of Parisians. And they are in danger of developing an actual mental illness called Paris syndrome. I kid you not. A whole bunch of remember when the Japanese were the gangbuster economy, and Japanese tourists with their millions were coming to Paris, and they were breaking down. They were like having mental health attacks. They were hallucinating. They were suffering severe depression, feelings of persecution, anxiety, and it came to be known as Paris syndrome. And now there's fears that the Chinese tourists are going to succumb to Paris syndrome as the Japanese had decades before them. And what they realized is psychologists said that tourists were shaken by their dream of Paris and the reality of Paris and couldn't process it and literally became crazy. Their rosy images, their expectations were upended by the stresses of a city whose natives are known for being among the unhappiest people in the world. Did you know that about Parisians? They test out as the most depressed, miserable human beings in the world. But, oh, they look good. So essentially, it's a kind of culture shock. But I guess because the Chinese are being so freaked, I guess, by what Paris is as opposed to what they thought it would be, that they're starting to not come. They go back home and they say, "Don't go there. It's horrible. There's dog poop on the sidewalks. It's awful. They knock you over the head. They take your purse. They steal everything." And so Chinese tourism to Paris has fallen 20% this year alone. Just saying. Henry writes about the Post-Gazette changes. I have a friend who works at the Post-Gazette, and he tells me they're quite proud. Oh, obviously they're quite proud. I'm so sick of their pride, I want them to shut up. You got a new printing press. Shut up. I mean, if the TV station got new cameras, do they tell you every 5 seconds we got new cameras? Do they have the bishop come in and bless the damn cameras? Do they go on and on and on and on? And all the same time that there's problems because of the new cameras? I think just shut up. On the receiving end of this fascinating new printing press, we don't see it. Anything to hoot and holler about. Anyway, back to Henry. His friends at the PG say they are especially proud of the fact that when so many papers are going out of business, the Post-Gazette is investing millions. Fine! Because you've got that block, the gazillionaire who owns it, who is and God bless him for it. Yes, sirree, because I'm a friend of newspapers. But, yeah, he's investing. While I have a feeling he's still asking the reporters for cutbacks, right? The people who work for him are making less and less and less, but they got a new printing press. Whew. Henry says, I told him the paper's smaller, the comics are in color. Seems like the PG is trying to become the Trib. Well, that could be too. Anyway, I don't know. I know I'm being picky-unish and small. But, this is talk. Larry writes, how many union printing press employees lost their jobs with the new printing press? Good question. Good question. Because you can bet, yeah, it's automated. That's probably why they were willing to invest in it, because they could throw a lot of people out of work. I don't know, but I don't care. That's all I'm saying. Someone tell Shribman and Block, we don't care. I'm also annoyed that they stole Potter away. Roger writes about my one-woman show, why don't you do something similar to what Clint Eastwood did at the convention? Talk to an imaginary person. That's always a killer. Oh, yeah, it sure worked for him. No, thank you. There will be a lot of people who are not imaginary there. My own mother has promised to come. I had to get her permission to tell one little story. She said, you go ahead. Because, some people could say, well, geez, that doesn't make your mother look too good. I don't care. She doesn't care. Go ahead, tell it. How he essentially sold you into slavery as a sexual slave. That's okay. You can tell that story. It's not quite that bad, but... And my sister's going to be there. And I know a lot of you are Susan fans, so come on at! As soon as I know how you can buy the tickets, I will tell you, okay? Ooh, I only got 2 minutes. So here's this thing I just wanted to say. Did you see this in the Post-Gazette, who I've been maligning, and here's their wonderful new color. See? Did you see that story in Sunday's paper? You're looking at a lot of pictures. They're pictures of paintings. These paintings were done by a former Pittsburgh Steeler. Back to football. We've come full circle. His name is Batch, but it isn't the Batch that you're thinking. It's not the quarterback. It's Baron Batch. And is he a lucky guy? You know why? Because he tore his ACL. And it meant he had to stop. And he never quite got back off the ground again. That was the last play of the last practice of his rookie year. He tears his ACL. And then his career never really took off that much, and eventually, he's gone. He stayed in Pittsburgh, even though I believe he's from Texas. And he reconnected with his love of art. So he's an artist. And that's what he does. And he wrote this piece. And it's mind-blowing. I don't always understand everything he's writing about, frankly, but listen to this. I thought this was so cool. I almost went down there and grabbed one. Listen to this. I think the greatest, this is Baron Batch, former NFL player who got out before it killed him. I think the greatest responsibility an artist has is to use his time to sit, think, and learn, and then share what he learns. Today, I plan to put some of my paintings out at Point State Park. If you want one, just take it home. My goal is to keep art relevant and create new collectors of art. I believe that it is an artist's duty to share his work with everyone, including those who cannot afford it but will treasure it. Because of that belief, I choose to give a good amount of my work away for free to people who will treasure it. Well, is that sort of wonderful or what? I almost went down there. I didn't feel right about taking one of his paintings because I thought I can afford to pay for one and I'd like to leave them for other people. But they're interesting and they look really good and wow. So, the cartoonish image of football players that has been in front of us for the last few weeks, of abusers of women and abusers of children and of this and that, remind yourself that they are all individuals and that here is one. And that's a football player, too. A call. Hello? Hello? Did you hang up?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Oh, Lynn, it's Tom.
Tom!
I had to call and opine your last minute. Although I think the story is remarkably nostalgic and schmaltzy, and I guess I admire the fellow for his sympathy, but the work is not good. I mean, it's like me saying, I just baked some lovely muffins, and I'm going to go down to the point and give them out to hungry people.
Tom!
Well, it's the truth. You call experts about football and law and the Post-Gazette, and I'm telling you as an expert.
If in my own stupid way, I look at one of Batch's paintings and I like it, and it gives me pleasure, and I take it home and hang it on my wall. If it ain't worth a cent to, artistic aficionados like you, I don't give a shit. I have a painting on my wall that gives me pleasure. That's all he's trying to do.
Well, yes, but he's saying that he's an artist, etc.
Well,
and he's a Saturday afternoon painter, and good for him. But I mean, I will, with your umbrage about the presses, crystallized, energized, and sympathized, or whatever it was. I mean, I would just say they've elevated it because he's a former football player. And if someone was painting equal works to those, and there are many, many people in this city who call themselves artists who have done retakes of Warhol and other such familiar
well,
things.
that's true. That he was a former football player, yes, gives it a hook to hang and gives him exposure that otherwise wouldn't be there. Yeah. But it also reminds us that football players are not some monolithic person.
No, I agree with that. As much as you think I hate all sports people. No, I agree with that. But, we all have hobbies. Some of us have hobbies. And that's what they are. Anyway.
But art, whatever rises to be art, if something gives somebody pleasure, who cares if it's a Monet or a Batch?
So does sex with antelopes to some people. With some pleasure. And that doesn't mean that it is societally approved.
Oh, man. Sex with antelopes. I think that's called sophistry, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I think. It's also, it was a non sequitur. It was akin to Rick Santorum saying, "What's next, man on dog?" Isn't it? That's exactly the same kind of thing.
No, it's not. Anyway, well, we won't see you for a few weeks, my dear, so I will let you ululate on your own, which you can do with great aplomb.
Aplomb?
Aplomb, yes.
I believe it's pronounced aplomb.
No, it's pronounced aplomb.
It is not, because I remember my speech teacher in New York saying aplomb.
Well, that's not how I was told. But we'll look it up.
Well, we'll both agree that the B is silent.
Yes, aplomb, yes. Not plum as in your mouth, but plum as...
Plum.
Yes.
All right, Sokolowski.
All right,
see you soon
Bye.
enough, buddy boy.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. He's just pissed off because I'm not working on Thursdays, which is his day. God! Well, I was going to start on such a wonderful note. I mean, stop on such a wonderful note, and then we get a plum. Well, there you go. We did. We ended on a note of agreement. The bee is silent. Okay? So, that's it. Guys, I want to say Happy New Year to my Jewish, because the new Jewish New Year starts Wednesday night. And I would have missed Thursday anyway. So, and then Friday, be here. Jean Marie Laskus. This is going to be a great, great show. I know it. I know it. It's a slam dunkaroo. Have a great day. Mwah.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.